Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada, all glory to Guru Maharaj. And thank you, Mataji, for joining. Very nice. You are giving very nice classes also. Hare Krishna.
Accept my obeisances, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kamodiki Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your warm association and your welcoming. This is Preeti Vilasini Devidasi from California. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji, for joining, giving a very, very time. Very nice association. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji, for joining very regularly every single day, twice a day. Hare Krishna, Mataji. All glories to you.
Very nice, Mataji. You do service every time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Komadiki Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhuji is here.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to First December Japa Conference. So today's class will be given by His Grace Adi Gadhadar Das Prabhuji on the topic of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata. I don't know the verse number, but it's
119, Mataji.
Okay. Chaitanya Bhagavata, Adi Khan, 100 text number 119 onwards. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for joining and giving us your very valuable time and association. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. My humble obeisances to you, Kaumadaki Mataji. Hare Krishna. My sincere gratitude to Preeti Vilasini Mataji and Kechida Sundari Mataji also for giving me this opportunity to serve on Bhakti Sangha. So we are continuing our study of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Mahashaya. We are reading the Adi Khanda, chapter 1, and we will be reading verse number 19 onwards. Let us start first with Mangalacharan. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti Shubhanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvise Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, chapter 1 of the Adi Khanda, verse number 119 onwards. Srila Vrindavan das Thakur is summarizing the contents of the Madhya Khanda. So, the previous esteemed respected speaker must have covered till verse number 118, which is the summary of the Adi Khanda. From verse number 119, the summary of the Madhya Khanda. There are three khandas in Chaitanya Bhagavat: Adi Khanda, Madhya Khanda, and Shesha Khanda or Antya Khanda. So, from verse number 119, the description of the Madhya Khanda will begin, and the description of the Antya Khanda will begin from Antya Khanda is also called Shesha Khanda. It will begin from verse number 154. So we will read from verse number 119 to verse number 154. So we have a lot of ground to cover. 119. Madhya Khande Vidita Haila Gaura Simha Chinile na Jata Saba Charanera Bringa. In the Madhya Khanda, the lion-like personality, Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, reveals himself so that the devotees who are like Charanera Bringa, who are like bees at his lotus feet, are able to recognize him. So in Madhya Khanda, our Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he reveals himself as a Supreme Lord. Madhya Khande Advaita Adi Srivasa Thakura Vyakta Haila Vasi Vishnu Khattara Upare. In the Madhya Khanda, the Supreme Lord Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu reveals his identity at the house of Srivasa Thakura and Advaita Prabhu while sitting on Lord Vishnu's altar. This is referring to the Mahaprakash Leela. So here, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he writes in the purport that the words Vyakta Haila indicate that Lord Gaura Sundara displayed the opulent pastimes of Narayan, his Naimittik Leela. His Naimittik Leela. What does that mean, my dear friends? It means that in Goloka Vrindavan, in Shvetadweep, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eternally resides, along with Lord Nityananda Prabhu, there also in the spiritual world, they are in Bhakta Bhav. So this Mahaprakash Leela, presenting himself as the Supreme Lord, allowing devotees to worship him, this is Naimittik Leela. This is not Nitya Leela. Naimittik Leela. Occasional pastimes. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is by nature in Bhakta Bhav, in Radha Bhav. But in Madhya Khanda, in Naimittik way, in an occasional way, he reveals his supremacy in the Mahaprakash Leela. And also, he allowed Advaita Acharya to worship him. So that is also Naimittik Leela, where he presents himself as the Supreme Lord. Madhya Khande Nityananda Sange Darashana Ekathai Dui Bhai Karila Kirtana. In the Madhya Khanda, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets Sri Nityananda Prabhu for the first time in their manifest Leela, in the Prakata Leela. And the two brothers perform Kirtan together. So don't be disappointed, dear devotees, because we are going to rush through the entire Madhya Khanda today. So today's reading of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat is like an overview of the entire Madhya Khanda. And the Madhya Khanda is very big. It is 3 volumes. The Adi Khanda is 2 volumes. The Antya Khanda is also 2 volumes. And the Madhya Khanda is the largest. It is 3 volumes. Total there are 7 volumes of the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Similarly, in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita also the Madhya Khanda is the largest. So we are going to do an overview. All these pastimes, please keep joining the Bhakti Sangha Japa group, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Zoom link every day. And you will get to hear all these pastimes in detail later on. Because in Madhya Leela, in Madhya Khanda, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is going to describe all these pastimes elaborately. Now, this is just an overview. So, Nityai and Gauranga Mahaprabhu meet for the first time in the Madhya Khanda, in Navadvip, and they do Kirtan together. Madhya Khande Shadbhuja Dekhila Nityananda, Madhya Khande Advaita Dekhila Vishwaranga. In the Madhya Khanda, Shri Nityananda Prabhu sees the six-armed Shadbhuj Gauranga form of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Shri Advaita Acharya sees the universal form of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Can someone unmute and tell me, there is one more time when Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displays his Shadbhuj Gauranga form. To whom? Can anyone tell?
Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya.
Hari Hari. Very good, very good. Excellent. Verse number 123. Nityananda Vyasa Puja Kahi Madhya Khande Ye Prabhu Re Ninda Kare Papishta Pashande. In the Madhya Khanda, there is description of the Vyas Puja performed by Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is criticized by the Papishta and Pashandi, those who are sinful and those who are atheistic. They criticize Lord Nityananda Prabhu, although he is the source of all Vishnu Tattva incarnations. Verse 124. Madhya Khande Haladhara Haila Gaura Chandra Haste Hala Mushala Dila Nityananda. In the Madhya Khanda, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he accepted the mood of Haladhara Balram. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can do anything. He can take the mood of Lord Balram, because ultimately Balram is his expansion. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the role of Balramji, took the mood of Balramji, Nidai immediately came and gave him a plow and a gada club to facilitate that mood. Nitai always wants to serve the mood of Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Madhya Khande Dui Ati Pataki Mochana Jagai Madai Nama Vikhyata Bhuvana. Of course, in the Madhya Khanda, there is a description of the deliverance of the two most sinful persons known throughout the world as Jagai and Madhai. They were actually born in a very nice Brahman family. Their names were Jagadananda and Madhavananda, but they became very sinful because of bad association and became the greatest sinners. But they were also delivered by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu and Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Madhya Khande Krishna Ram Chaitanya Nitai Shama Shukla Rupa Dekhi Lena Shachi Ai. Ai means mother. So what happens in Madhya Khanda? Ai, Mother Shachi, she sees Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu in their blackish and whitish forms as Krishna and Balram. Shama Shukla. Shukla means whitish, fair, and Shama means dark. Madhya Khande, Krishna Ram, Chaitanya Nitai. Chaitanya Nitai appear as Krishna and Ram. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Krishna and Balramji as Nitai. Shama Shukla Rupa Dekhi Lena Shachi Ai. Shachi Mata saw them in that form. This story is there. Verse number 127. Madhya Khande Chaitanya Mahaparakash Sat Prahariya Bhava Aishwarya Vilas. This is the Mahaprakash Lila. In the Madhya Khanda, the Lord displayed Sat Prahar. There are 8 Prahar, Ashta Prahar. Ashtakaliya Leela is there. 8 Prahars are there, each Prahar of around 3 hours duration. So 8 times 3 is 24. So this Sapta Prahar, 7 Prahar means 21 hours. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested his Mahaprakash Leela in the house of Srivasa Thakura for 21 hours. Mahaprakash. He showed his opulences. Again, this is Naimittik Leela. Seidina Amayaya Kahilena Katha Ye Seva Kera Janma Haila Yatha Yatha. On that day, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed the Mahaprakash Leela in Srivasa Thakur's house, he Ye Seva Kera Janma Haila Yatha Yatha. He revealed to all his sevaks, to all his devotees, all his servants, who they were in their past. He revealed their past identity. I will say the name and you quickly, one of you unmute and tell the answer. Murari Gupta was revealed to be who previously?
Hanuman.
Hanuman.
Hari Bol. Very good. Then Kolavecha Sridhar was revealed to be who?
Mali.
A Sakha in Golok Vrindavan. So he saw Krishna and Balram as his friends. He had the
Abhiram Thakur Prabhuji.
No, not Abhiram Thakur.
Subal.
Prabhuji is Bidur.
No, I don't remember the name myself. Some Sakha. Kolavecha Sridhar was some Sakha. He is not one of the Dwadasha Sakhas. He is not one of the Dwadasha Sakhas, but he is one of the Sakhas. even Vrindavan Das Thakur is a Sakha. All of you are so enthusiastic. That's why I'm very happy. So he was revealed to be a Sakha. How about, can you think of anyone else who was, how about Haridas Thakur?
Brahma.
Lord Brahma.
Haridas Thakur is Lord Brahma. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes about that. So in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he revealed the previous lives of the different devotees. Now I will tell one devotee, and whoever answers this question is very special. It's very special. Who was Gangadas Pandit in his previous life?
Sandipani Muni.
Correct. Sandipani Muni, but he was one more personality. So in Mahaprakash Lila, what did Mahaprabhu do? Huh?
Shankar Bhagwan.
You are very close. Amsha of Shankar Bhagwan. So see, think of it like this. In Mahaprakash Lila, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Gauridas Pandit that the Muslims attacked, and you, your daughter, your wife, you ran to protect yourself, and you reached the Ganga, and the Ganga was flooded. The current was very swift. You didn't know how to cross. The Muslim soldiers were closing in on you. At that time, you prayed to me, and I came there as a boatman, and I transported you and your family to safety, to the other side of Ganga. So Gangadas Pandit was running away, and behind him, yes, just like Durvas Muni was running away, so similarly Gangadas Pandit was running, and Mahaprabhu saved him. So he was revealed as he is actually considered to be incarnation of Durvas Muni, but Sandipani Muni also. Madhya khande nache vaikunthera Narayan nagare nagare kaila apane kirtan. In the Madhya khanda, Lord Narayan, the Lord of Vaikuntha, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dances, or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Vaikuntha Narayan, he performs kirtan. Nagare nagera kaila apane kirtana. He did kirtan throughout the streets of Navadvip in Madhya khanda. This will also come. Madhya khande kajira bhangila ahankar nija shakti prakashi ya kirtana apar. In the Madhya khanda, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Kajira Bhangila Ahankar. He broke and destroyed the pride of the Muslim Kazi, Chand Kazi, who wanted to stop Nam Sankirtan. And Nija Shakti Prakashya, Kirtana Apar. And he demonstrated tremendous potency in his Kirtan. And Nija Shakti Prakashya, he manifested his potency to Chand Kazi. Someone quickly unmute and say, which incarnation appeared to Chand Kazi? Narsimhadev. Yes, he is the protector of Sankirtan movement. And this proves that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Avatari. He is the source of all incarnations. You will never see Lord Narsimhadev manifesting a threefold bending form of Krishna. You see? But Krishna can manifest the form of Narsimhadev. Because Krishna is Avatari and Lord Narsimhadev is an avatar. Special avatar to protect all of us. To protect Mahaprabhu's Nam Sankirtan movement. 131. Bhakti paila kaji prabhu gaurange ravare swachhande kirtana kare nagare nagare. By the benedictions of Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Chand Kazi attains devotional service. Bhakti paila kaji. Kazi attained bhakti, Krishna bhakti. Thus all the devotees are allowed to freely perform kirtan in the streets of Navadvip. Hari Bol. Quickly unmute and tell me who is Chand Kazi in Krishna Lila?
Kamsa.
And who is Jarasandh in Gaur Lila?
I told this yesterday.
Quick. We are getting late.
Forgot.
Nawab Hussain Shah. Madhya Khande Mahaprabhu Varaha Haila Nija Tattva Murari Re Kahila Garjiya. In the Madhya Khanda, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts the form of Varahadev and discloses identity to Murari Gupta. What did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the form of Gaura Varaha, in the form of Varahadev, what did he pick up and run around the courtyard of Murari Gupta? Quick. He picked up something as if between his tusks. What did he pick up and run around in the courtyard of Murari Gupta when he manifested?
Water pot? Lotus?
Yes, water pot from the altar of Murari Gupta. Very good. As if it was earth. Madhya Khande Murarira Khande Arohana Chaturbuja Hayya Kaila Angane Brahmana. See, in Madhya Khanda, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts a four-armed form and rides on Murari Gupta's shoulders throughout his courtyard. This also took place in the courtyard of Murari Gupta. He manifested himself as Lord Narayan and Lord Vishnu and carried Murari on his shoulders. He once manifested himself as Lord Narsimhadev also, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Murari Gupta said, whoever sees you in this form as Gaura Narsimha will be most blessed. Madhya Khande Shuklambara Tandula Bhojana Madhya Khande Nana Chanda Haila Narayana. In the Madhya Khanda, Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu eats the rice cooked by Shuklambar Brahmachari and performs various pastimes as Narayan. Quickly unmute and tell me who is Shuklambar Brahmachari in Krishna Lila.
Sudama?
Yes. Madhya Khande Rukminira Veshe Narayana Nachile Nastana Pila Sarva Bhakta Gana. Hare Krishna. In Madhya Khanda, Gaura Narayan, our Ishtadev Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dances in the dress of Mother Rukmini and feeds her own love to all the devotees. This was a drama. I think it happened in the house of Chandrasekhar, if I remember correctly. This pastime will come. Very beautiful pastime. Mahaprabhu was also very fond of dramas, spiritual dramas, just like Nitai. And they would perform these dramas and they would invite everyone, all the residents of Navadip, to watch the dramas. Mahaprabhu himself would act, Haridas Thakur would act, Nitai would act. It was beautiful. This Gaur Lila is so beautiful. Madhya Khande Mukundera Danda Sangha Doshe Sheshe Anugraha Kaila Parama Santoshe. In the Madhya Khanda, Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu punishes Mukunda for associating with Nanis and later blesses him with great satisfaction. Quickly unmute and tell, in this pastime of Mahaprakash Lila, when Mukunda was punished by Mahaprabhu, which quality of a devotee did Mukunda display?
Patience?
Yes, very good. Madhya Khande Mahaprabhu Nishaya Kirtana Vatsare Kana Vadvipe Kaila Anukshana. In the Madhya Khanda, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu performs all night Kirtan. Nishaya Kirtan. Nisha means night. Nishaya Kirtana. For Vatsareka. Vatsar means 1 year. For 1 year in Navadvip, Mahaprabhu performed all night Kirtan in Srivasa Angan. Now, quick question. Everybody pay attention. It's a rapid question. Now, pay attention. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told all the devotees one day in Navadvip that we are doing Kirtan all day long, Nam Sankirtan. But at night we are sleeping. We are wasting time at night. So let us chant all night also. All day, all night we will chant for 1 year. Let's take this vrat. And they did it. But when Mahaprabhu announced, all the devotees, Advaita Acharya, Srivasa Thakura, Haridas Thakur, Shuklambar Brahmachari, everyone, they were very Mukunda, they were all very excited and enthusiastic. But they brought up a practical question. They asked Mahaprabhu, all day we do Kirtan, we go to Ganga, we walk on the streets of Navadvip, we are preaching, we are doing dramas, and we are doing Nam Sankirtan, we are honoring Prasadam, we are together doing Krishna Katha and Kirtan all day. At night, the human body needs rest, needs sleep. Without sleep, we cannot survive. So how can we do Kirtanya Sadahari? How will we be able to do chanting day and night? How physically it will be possible? So what did Mahaprabhu reply? This is the question. Quickly tell, unmute and tell. What was Mahaprabhu's
Prabhuji,
response?
was it that if you are Trinadapi Sunichena?
Yes, very good. Very good. Yes. Mahaprabhu said that if you do not criticize anyone, you become very, very humble and tolerant. You don't expect any respect or recognition, and you give all respect to others. Then you will be able to chant day and night without requiring any sleep. Hari Bol. Very good, Kasturi Manjari Mataji. Madhyakhande Nityananda Advaita Kautuka Ajnajane Bhujejena Kalaha Swarupa. In the Madhyakhanda, Kalaha Swarupa. Kalaha means quarrel. Kali Yuga is marked by Kalaha, quarrel and hypocrisy. Kalaha Lati Iti Kali. So Madhyakhande Nityananda Advaita Kautuka. Kautuka means joking in a very light-hearted way, not serious. Ajnajane, those fools, ignorant people, Bhujajana Kalaha Swarupa. People think that it is quarreling, but actually it is not quarreling. The arguments between Nitai and Advaita Acharya, they are not quarrels. They are actually loving jokes. Srila Vrindavan was clearly saying, so we should not say that Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya were fighting. They never fought. They were just two friends having fun, having jokes. So that also happens in Madhya Khanda. Madhya Khande Jananira Lakshe Bhagavan Vaishnava Paradha Karai Ila Savadhan. In Madhya Khanda, Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, through the example of his mother, Jananira Lakshe Bhagavan, in his Bhagwan Bhav. Again, during this pastime, Mahaprabhu displayed his Bhagwan Bhav, punishing his own mother. Punishing his own mother because he's Bhagwan. He is the mother of everyone. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhu masakha tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva sarvam mama deva deva pita aham asya jagata mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitram omkara rigsama yajureva. That is Bhagwan. That I am Deva Dev. I am pita aham asya jagata mata dhata pitamaha. That bhav is Bhagwan bhav. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu, when he punished Shachi Mata, he was displaying Bhagwan Bhav. Again, Naimittik Leela, not Nitya Leela. So, what was the purpose of this? Vaishnav Aparadha Kariyaila Savadhan. I'll read again. Madhya Khande Jananira Lakshe Bhagavan Vaishnava Aparadha Karaila Savadhan. So quickly, one of you unmute and tell in 1 or 2 sentences what was the aparadh and what was the solution.
She had criticized, not mentally, when
okay, and what was the solution?
Solution was that
rest of the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya.
Jai ho, Jai ho. Bhakti Sangha is speaking Gaur Katha as if Bhakti Sangha has dozens of mouths today. It is very good. I like it. Madhya Khande Sakala Vaishnava Jane Jane Sabevara Pailena Kariyastavane. In the Madhya Khanda, all the Vaishnavas received benedictions after offering prayers. Quickly unmute. Which Leela is this? Where they offered prayers and they got benedictions. Everyone got benedictions. Which Leela?
Mahaprakash Leela.
Yes. 141. Madhya Khande Prasada Paila Haridas Sridharera Jalapana Karunya Vilas. Aha. In Madhya Khanda, Prasada Paila Haridas. Haridas received the Lord's mercy. What was the mercy? Can anyone quickly tell? What did Mahaprabhu show in Mahaprakash Leela to Haridas Thakur to display his mercy?
All the whip marks on his back.
Hare Krishna. And Sridharera Jalapan Karunya Vilas. His merciful pastime of drinking the water of Kolavicha Sridhar. And what was the specialty of that pot? Can someone tell? From which Mahaprabhu drank water? Hare Krishna.
Iron rusted pot.
And that pot was used by Kolavicha Sridhar for all activities. Hare Krishna. And that Mahaprabhu drank. This is the love. This is Bhakta Vatsalya. He can take the pus and blood of Srila Sanatan Goswami and he can drink from the water pot of Kolavicha Sridhar. That was the only water pot Sridhar had and he would use it for all activities of his bodily maintenance. This is Mahaprabhu. Cannot understand Mahaprabhu's love. Madhya Khande Sakala Vaishnava Kari Sange Pratidina Janavite Jala Keli Range. Janava means Ganga. In Madhya Khanda, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu daily sports in the water of Ganga with his friends, with his devotees. Pratidina Janavite Jala Keli Range. He enjoys these pastimes. Range means he enjoys these pastimes. Who wants to swim with Mahaprabhu in Ganga and have fun and frolic? Haribol. Madhya Khande Gaura Chandra Nityananda Sange Advaitera Grihe Giya Chila Kona Range. In Madhya Khanda, now this is a question for all of you. Let's see who can answer this. In Madhya Khanda, Gaura Chandra, along with Nityananda Sange, He goes to the house of Advaita. Advaita ra grihe giya. Achila kona range. On a specific mission. On a specific mission, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took Nityananda Prabhu and went to the house of Advaita Acharya. Quickly, Environ, tell me, what is this about? What was the mission?
Breaking the danda?
Sorry?
I don't know if it's right, but breaking the danda on the way. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's danda.
No, that was after sannyas.
To chastise Advaita Acharya?
Right, but wrong. Something harsher. Something harsher. So what did Mahaprabhu do?
He
beat Advaita.
He what?
He beat up Advaita Acharya.
Haribo.
Krishna.
Poor Advaita Acharya. He beat him. And I was thinking, how can Mahaprabhu do this? So he went on a mission. He went in a boat and he attacked Advaita Acharya when Advaita Acharya was sitting on the Vyasasana, speaking Mayavad philosophy. And he pulled him down, wrestled him to the ground and beat him up. And Sita Thakurani was crying. Achyutananda was crying. Nitai was laughing. Haridas Thakur intensified his chanting when he saw this. I was thinking, how is this possible? And then yesterday I was reading, because yesterday was Sri Advaita Saptami, and I came across that it is explained, Advaita Acharya, he is Sadashiv in Goloka Vrindavan. So he exists there as Gopishwar Mahadev. And he also, one time he saw Krishna wrestling with his friends and playing with his friends. So Sadashiv developed a desire that I want to be a Gopa also in Goloka Vrindavan. So Krishna fulfilled his desire, and Sadashiv eternally resides in Goloka Vrindavan as a Sakha, as a Gopa, where he wrestles with Krishna. So therefore, the wrestling of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Acharya is not surprising. So very, very nice. So he went on a mission to his house to beat him up because he was speaking Mayavad. And why was Advaita Acharya speaking Mayavad? Because he wanted to be beaten and chastised by Mahaprabhu. So that everybody will know that Mahaprabhu is the Bhagwan and Advaita is the Bhakta. Madhya khande Advaitera kari bahu danda sheshe anugraha kaila parama prachanda. In Madhya khanda, the Lord punishes Advaita Prabhu and then bestows great mercy on him. Quickly tell me, what is this about? This is not the beating pastime for speaking Mayavad. This is another pastime. Punish Advaita Acharya.
Is it Prabhuji?
Food dust?
Taking the dust off.
Taking the food dust taking the food dust from the feet of Mahaprabhu?
It was after that. This happens after that. Quick. We will not proceed until all of you answer.
To show everyone that he is a servant and Mahaprabhu is Bhagavan?
No. Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji has written that are these in Adi Leela? No, but these are all in Madhya Leela, Prabhuji. These are all Madhya Khanda.
What was the question, Prabhu? Sorry.
The question was this verse. Madhya Khande Advaitera Kari Bahu Danda. Sheshe, afterwards, Anugraha Kaila. And he gave mercy also later on. Parama Prachanda. Great mercy also he gave. So tell me.
Mahaprabhu was upset that why he was brought back to Shantipur while he wants to go to Vrindavan.
No. So I'll tell you this. This is a little difficult.
Is it about Sachimata? Like Sachimata had offended, and then is it about that? And then
there Sachimata got danda, not Advaita Acharya. I'll tell you, Advaita Acharya.
Prabhuji, the Kamalaksha, that Kamalaksha one.
Kamalakant, no, that is different. So this is different. This is a little difficult one. So what happens was when Advaita Acharya took the dust from the feet of Mahaprabhu, then Mahaprabhu punished him by taking dust from his feet. So that pastime happened. After that, Advaita Acharya was thinking, I really want to be punished by Mahaprabhu and I want to be accepted by Mahaprabhu as a servant. So Mahaprabhu reciprocated with this desire. And what did he do? One day he asked he said that I'm not feeling ecstasy. Has anyone taken the dust? So Advaita Acharya said, yes, we take dust from your feet when you faint because we really need it. We need the dust. You are the Supreme Lord. So Mahaprabhu became so disturbed by hearing this that Mahaprabhu just ran away from Srivasangan. He just ran away from the Srivasangan and said, I will end my life by jumping into Ganga. And Advaita Acharya started crying, wailing, fell on the ground. What did I do? What offense did I do? Mahaprabhu ran, jumped into the Ganga, and behind him Nitai and Haridas ran. And Mahaprabhu just dove into the Ganga and went deep in the Ganga as if he had drowned. And it was night. It was late dark at night. And Nitai, you can imagine the desperation of Nitai and Haridas. They saw Mahaprabhu go under and they couldn't find him. They were desperately searching for him. Finally, they saw him underwater. And Nityananda Prabhu, he grabbed Mahaprabhu's hair, and Haridas Thakur grabbed Mahaprabhu's feet, and they somehow pulled Mahaprabhu out of the Ganga and rescued him. And Mahaprabhu said that, no, take me to the house of Nandanacharya. I want to stay there. And don't tell Advaita where I am. And for a few days, Mahaprabhu hid there, and Advaita thought Mahaprabhu has left this world, and he was crying and crying and crying. He was begging forgiveness. I will never again take dust from your feet. Please forgive me for my offense. Please forgive. Please come back. Please come back. He was crying. I have lost my Mahaprabhu. I prayed so much to bring him on earth. I have lost him. And then one day, Mahaprabhu, he called Ramai Pandit, the brother of Srivasa Thakura, and said, so how is Advaita Acharya doing? He said, he's crying day and night. He has given up food. 3 days he has not eaten anything. So Mahaprabhu said, all right, let's go. And Mahaprabhu comes and gives us darshan to Advaita, and he's so relieved, he's so happy, so blissful. And then Mahaprabhu says, see, you wanted me to punish you now? That's why I ran away, to punish you. So this was my punishment to you. But I accept you as my devotee. So that's where Mahaprabhu punished Advaita and also gave anugraha, gave his mercy also. Madhya khande Chaitanya Nitai Krishna Ram Janila Murari Gupta Mahabhagyavan. So in Madhya Khanda, the most fortunate Murari Gupta, he was able to recognize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu as Krishna and Balaram. Krishna and Ram, or Ram and Lakshman. Madhya Khande Dui Prabhu Chaitanya Nitai Nachile na Srivasa Angane Ekathai. In Madhya Khanda, Chaitanya and Nitai, they danced together in the house of Srivasa Thakur. So many pastimes took place. Madhya Khande Srivasera Mrita Putra Mukhe Jivatatva Kahaiya Guchaila Dukhe. Very beautiful. In Madhya Khanda, Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu induces the dead son of Srivasa Thakur to speak on the science of the soul, Jivatatva, and thus destroyed everyone's ignorance. Guchaila Dukhe. He destroyed everyone's sorrow and ignorance. This also takes place in Madhya Khanda. This is just before Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Because during this pastime, Mahaprabhu said, oh, you love me so much. You are willing to tolerate the death of your own son and not allowing the ladies in the house to cry. Srivasa Thakur actually, he took a cloth and stuffed it in the mouth of his wife, Malini Devi, and his mother-in-law and other ladies inside the house. Don't cry. Don't disturb the dancing of Mahaprabhu. So many sons and so many lifetimes we have had. We all take birth, we all die. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only comes once in a day of Brahma and performs his Sankirtan Leela. So Mahaprabhu is enjoying, he is a supreme enjoyer. Let us not disturb his mood. Don't cry. We can cry later on. Be quiet. It is most auspicious that the son has died while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally present in the house and doing loud Nam Sankirtan. So, shh, don't cry. And for 7 hours, he did not let his wife and other family members cry after the only son had died. This is Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu, when he saw the love that Srivasa Thakur had, this is the quality of the devotees of Mahaprabhu and Krishna. Such devotees are not to be found anywhere. So when this happened, Mahaprabhu said, how will I leave all of you? You all love me so much. How can I give up your association? So that time nobody understood. Why is he talking like this? Giving up our association? He never has to give up our association. We are always going to be together. They thought like that. But soon after that, Mahaprabhu took sannyas. Chaitanya anugrahe Srivasa Pandita Pasari la putra shoke jagate vidita. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Madhya Khanda, Srivasa Thakur gave up lamentation over his son's death. This incident became known to all. Jagate vidita. It became world famous. By the mercy of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and our Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. Madhya Khande Gangaya Padila Dukha Paya Nityananda Haridasa Anila Tuliya. Again, the same incident. In Madhya Khanda, the Lord in distress jumped into the Ganga and Nityananda and Haridas pulled him out. What incident is this? Is it the same incident that we described of punishing Advaita? No. Can anyone tell me what this incident was?
When he was caught by that fisherman?
Oh, that is Antelila.
The milk drinker.
This is different.
The one who was drinking milk, who appeared in that house.
That is different, Mataji. That milk drinking Brahmachari, that is different. So this was when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was coming for the night Nam Sankirtan to Srivasangan, and on the way he met some blasphemers. Remember? And they said, what are you doing? Where in the Shastra it is said that you should chant loudly the name of Hari all night long? These mantras are to be chanted secretly. These are Vedic mantras. Don't chant them loudly. And they blasphemed Mahaprabhu. And they blasphemed the associates of Mahaprabhu. They said, all of you, we don't know what you are doing behind those closed doors. Maybe you are calling ladies and drinking wine and eating meat behind closed doors. So in this way, the blasphemers, they blasphemed Mahaprabhu, they blasphemed Nam Sankirtan movement, and they blasphemed the associates, the devotees of Mahaprabhu. And when
Gopala?
Huh?
Gopal
Chapal was different. That was a different story. He did not verbally blaspheme, but he physically tried to spoil the reputation of Srivasa Thakura. So this was a different group of blasphemers. They blasphemed. Mahaprabhu came for Nam Sankirtan and he said, I don't feel any ecstasy today. They asked, why are you not feeling ecstasy? He said, because I have heard blasphemy of the holy name, blasphemy of Krishna, and blasphemy of the devotees of Krishna. I better end my life. And again he ran and jumped into the Ganga. And this time also Nitai and Haridas pulled him out. So that is what Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is describing. Madhya khande sarva... No. Madhya khande Gangaya padila dukha paya Nityananda Haridasa anila tuliya. They rescued him. Madhya khande Chaitanyera avashesha patra Brahmara durlabha narayani paila matra. In Madhya khanda, Narayani received the Lord's remnants, which are rarely attained even by Lord Brahma. So who is Narayani?
Niece of Srivasa Thakura.
Yes. Yeah, what relationship does Narayani have with Chaitanya Bhagavata?
Mother of Vrindavan Das.
Yeah. Very good, Kirita Sundari Mataji. So Madhya khande Chaitanyera avashesha patra Brahmara durlabha narayani paila matra. So in Madhya khanda, his own mother, she received the Chaitanyera avashesha patra, the plate with the remnants of Mahaprabhu, which is Brahmara durlabha. It is not even attainable by Lord Brahma. What is the story where the Mahaprasad of Lord Narayan is durlabh?
When Naradji
yes. Lord Shiva, Mother Parvati, everybody.
Yeah.
So what was the result of that pastime?
Jagannath Puri
Vimala Devi. Yes. Madhya khande sarva jiva uddhara karune sannyasa karite prabhu karila gamane. In Madhya khanda, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu leaves his home and accepts sannyas. Why? Uddhara karune. By his mercy to deliver the living entities. Sannyasa karite prabhu karila gamane. He left his home. Verse 152. Kirtana kariya adi avadhi sannyas ei haite kahi madhya khandera vilas. The pastimes of Madhya khanda begin with the Lord's kirtan and end with his acceptance of sannyas. Madhya khande ache ara kata koti lila veda vyasa varni bena sesakala khela. There are millions of other pastimes in the Madhya khanda that will be described in the future by Srila Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva varni bena sesakala khela. Madhya khande ache ara kata koti lila, crores of leelas, millions of leelas are there in Madhya khanda, and they will be described later on by Srila Vyasadeva. How can Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur be so confident that Vyasadeva will describe? What is the relationship between Vyasadeva and Vrindavan?
He is only Vyasadeva.
Huh?
He is only Vyasadeva.
Hari. Jai ho, Priti Vilasini Mataji ki jai ho. Let's read the last purport by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. After hearing from Sri Ishwar Puri, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurates the congregational chanting of the holy names. These pastimes up to his acceptance of sannyas and leaving Navadvip are described in the Madhya khanda. Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu has unlimited pastimes apart from those described in this book. Srila Vyasadeva will describe those pastimes in the future. Now, word of caution by Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. But if one wants to create imaginary pastimes of Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu that are mixed with rasabhas and opposing shastric conclusions, that is offensive and must be rejected by the followers of Vyasadeva. So only authentic books should be read. Only authentic books should be read. And for us, the authentic books describing the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are mainly Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Sri Chaitanya Mangal of Srila Roshandas Thakur. Although it is said some parts of that book have been interpolated later on. But anyway, Chaitanya Mangal is there, Chaitanya Bhagavat is there, Chaitanya Charitamrita is there, then Chaitanya Charita Mahakavya is there of Srila Murari Gupta. So like that, there are many authentic books that we can relish and read. So we saw how Madhya Khanda begins with Mahaprabhu receiving Diksha from Sri Ishwar Puri Maharaj and propagating the Nam Sankirtan movement. Nama Sankirtanarambhe Bhavishyami Shachisuta Swaranadi Tiram Asthaya Navadvipe Janashraye. So Mahaprabhu came and he inaugurated the Nam Sankirtan movement. Nama Sankirtan Arambhe Bhavishyami Shachisuta. This is a prediction in the Vayu Puran, predicting Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu came, he established Nam Sankirtan movement, spread it widely in Bengal area. And finally, for doing greater good out of compassion for others and to make many other people devotees, many other people who were envious, to make them devotees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. And this is the heart of a devotee, and this is the effect of a pure devotee. I repeat, this is the effect of a pure devotee, that wherever a pure devotee goes, other people become devotees. In this regard, my dear friends, I would like to tell you one short story, which I think all of you will love. This is the story of one of our favorite characters from Srimad Bhagavatam. Please unmute and tell me who is that one character, not from the 10th canto, before that, in Srimad Bhagavatam, who utilized everything he had in the service of Krishna.
Ambarish.
Haribol! Yes. So this is the story of Ambarish Maharaj. Would all of you like to hear the story?
Yes, Prabhu.
Haribol.
And the point we are discussing this is because we concluded the overview of Madhya Khanda with Mahaprabhu taking sannyas, and Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ji Maharaj state that the purpose of taking sannyas was to deliver the fallen souls. And the point we are trying to make is this is the nature of a pure devotee. Wherever they go, they produce more pure devotees. Therefore, this is the problem with the Ritvicism theory, that they say that Srila Prabhupada is the final Acharya in this line, in this parampara. This is absolutely incorrect. And this is not supported by any Acharya in any sampradaya. And it is supported by none of the followers of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur either in the Saraswat Gaudiya family. None of them. So this is just this philosophy is just a concoction. It's a misunderstanding. This is never like that a one particular Acharya is the last final Acharya. It is against Bhagavad Gita's teachings. Evam parampara praptam. This knowledge goes down in parampara. And it is one Acharya to the other. Always like that. So, Srila Prabhupada is like a Chintamani, touchstone. Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, one time when he was giving a lecture in Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Mandir, he made this point about the erroneous nature of the Ritvicism theory, Ritvicism philosophy. Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj said, they say that Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, he is Acharya, but he's the final Acharya. None of his disciples are qualified to become Diksha Gurus. Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj said, this is the greatest blasphemy of Srila Prabhupada. So they mean to say that Srila Prabhupada could not produce one pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada was an Acharya who could not produce one Acharya after him. So they call this, people who follow this philosophy, they may consider themselves to be the real followers of Prabhupada. But this is a misunderstanding. This is actually a criticism of Srila Prabhupada. They are showing Srila Prabhupada in a bad light. That all the Acharyas were able to produce Acharyas. And our Srila Prabhupada could not produce even one Acharya. So this is absolutely wrong. It is one Acharya to another. And Srila Prabhupada produced many pure devotees. And the history of ISKCON is evidence to that. Many moons, as His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj says. Many moons, yes. So, the point is that a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada is like a touchstone. So, wherever the pure devotee goes, he has the power to give Krishna to others and make them into pure devotees. Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakati ache. Maharaj Ambarish was a pure devotee, very great devotee, and it is said that he engaged all his senses. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor. He used all his senses, his mind, his senses, his speech, his sense of touch, his legs, his feet, his hands, his eyes, his nose, his ears, everything in the service of Sri Hari, in the service of Krishna. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor. Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane. With his mouth, he described the qualities of Lord Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha is the name of Lord Vishnu. So Maharaj Ambarish was a great pure devotee and he was world famous. Maharaj Ambarish was a Kshatriya, he was a king and he had several queens. Maharaj Ambarish lived in the temple of Lord Vishnu. He did not live in a palace, he lived in a temple. And throughout the day, Ashta Prahar, all throughout the 8 prahars of the day, 8 phases of the day, each phase consists of 3 hours, he would worship Lord Narayan. And this is called Ashtayam Seva, Ashtakaliya Seva. He would be engaged in that. And he had trusted ministers who would manage the administration and he would just oversee it, very efficiently without compromising his bhajan. And he was so virakta, he was so renounced that Ambarish Maharaj did not really associate much with his queens. He made sure the queens were provided for. Each queen had her own palace, her own sets of maid servants, and all the comforts and luxuries were provided to them. And they would come and they would sit alongside Maharaj Ambarish and hear Srimad Bhagavatam, hear Hari Katha, serve and receive great saints like Shripad Narad Muni in their kingdom. So this was the Dincharya, this was the lifestyle of Maharaj Ambarish. At that time, there was another kingdom, and the princess of that kingdom, one time from Shripad Narad Muni, heard about the glorious character of Maharaj Ambarish. When this young, beautiful princess, she heard, her father was the king, and he would invite great sadhus. So once Narad Muni was invited, and Shri Narad Muni spoke about the character of Ambarish Maharaj, which means, my dear friends, it is important to speak Krishna Katha, but it is also equally important to speak the Katha of the Vaishnavas. Vaishnav Gungan. It is very important to glorify the devotees also. Therefore, we have Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit. We need to read about the devotees also. Therefore, Chaitanya Charitamrit describes in such detail the glorious character of devotees like Srila Haridas Thakur, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, Rup Sanatan Goswamis, Kalidas, so many devotees are described in great detail in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit, because we need to hear about the glories of the devotees also. So Shripad Narad Muni chose to give a Bhagavatam class in the court of this king on the character of Maharaj Ambarish. And the princess was sitting there along with her mother and father, and she heard. And just by hearing about Maharaj Ambarish, she gave her heart to Maharaj Ambarish. And she said, if I marry, I will only marry Maharaj Ambarish, because he's a Mahabhagavat. Normally, a woman, a girl, is very shy to talk about her own marriage to her parents, especially to her father. But this princess was so eager to marry Maharaj Ambarish that she approached her father, the king, and told him, Father, immediately write a letter and send it to Maharaj Ambarish, stating that I want to marry him. She gave up her lajja. She gave up her, what do you say in English? Shyness. And she approached her father and said, please write a letter. I want to marry Maharaj Ambarish. Father also thought this is a very good thing because she wants to marry a great Mahabhagavat devotee. Why not? Instead of marrying some ordinary karmi king, why not get her married to Maharaj Ambarish? He's powerful. He's a great devotee of Krishna. And he's always protected by the Sudarshan Chakra of Lord Krishna. So why not? So he wrote the letter, the royal letter on the royal paper. And the princess, she gave that to a Brahman, just like Rukmini Devi had done. And she told the Brahman, please go and deliver it to Maharaj Ambarish. So this Brahman immediately went to Maharaj Ambarish and gave the letter and read the letter. that such and such princess wants your hand in marriage. Please accept her as your wife. Maharaj Ambarish heard the letter and he dictated another letter, a message to the princess and her parents, that I am a sold out slave of Lord Krishna. I am not a king. The real king of the kingdom is Lord Krishna. I am simply his maid servant. I beg your pardon. I am simply his servant. I am simply his sold out servant. And if you marry me, you will become a maid servant, not a queen. Don't think that by marrying Maharaj Ambarish, you are going to become a queen. You will become a maid servant because I am a sold out servant. So please don't marry me. Besides, I am not attached to women. In fact, I don't even stay with any of my queens. They have their own palaces. We only meet in the court for Harikatha, listening to Harikatha together. I invite different sadhus and rishis. They come and they speak Krishna Katha and we sit and hear. So that's our life. And all day I'm busy worshipping my deity of Krishna. So what will you get by marrying me? Don't marry me. Find someone else. So in this way, Maharaj Ambarish, he said no. When the princess got this letter from Maharaj Ambarish, she wrote another letter. She dictated another letter and sent the Brahman. And this letter said, my dear Maharaj Ambarish, this is exactly the reason why I want to marry you. I don't want to marry a king who is attracted to the physical beauty, temporary physical beauty of a human body. That's not who I want to marry. I do not want sense gratification. I want to marry a Mahabhagavat. And therefore I want to marry you. I don't expect anything from you. Because you are a Mahabhagavat, I simply want to become your maid servant. And thereby I want to become the servant of Krishna. So please accept me. Again the letter came. Ambarish Maharaj read and he was very happy to see this mood of Dasanudas. So Ambarish Maharaj said, I cannot come and do a Vivaha Samskar, marriage ceremony. It's too materialistic for me to, be the center of attention, leave my puja, leave my bhajan and come and marry. No. I don't want to waste my time. So he sent his sword, his talwar with the Brahman and said, get married. This talwar represents me. Just get married to the talwar who represents me. In that way, you will become my wife and then come to the kingdom. And this princess was very happy. So she kept the talwar, the sword of Maharaj Ambarish as a representative of Maharaj Ambarish, got married and then came to the kingdom of Maharaj Ambarish as his youngest, newest wife. Maharaj Ambarish told his ministers that please arrange a new palace for her, arrange maid servants for her, and all the paraphernalia, clothes, jewels, food, cooks, everything for her, all arrangements. She should be comfortable and let her follow me. She can come to the court and hear Harikatha, Krishna Katha, like that. So then the princess who just got married to Maharaj Ambarish came as his youngest queen and started living in that palace. And Ambarish Maharaj lived alone with his Thakurji, with his deity of Krishna. And then next morning, Ambarish Maharaj got up and he took his bath and he went to the mandir to do puja, to worship Lord Krishna. And he saw that the temple had already been swept and mopped and cleaned and all the vessels were spick and span clean. All the paraphernalia for the aarti was ready. There was jal from the river Sharayu. Ambarish Maharaj had his palace on the banks of Sharayu river. So he was also a Surya Vamshi, a king in the same dynasty as Lord Ramachandra, Maharaj Ambarish. So someone had got water from the holy Sharayu river, and there were tulsi leaves, tulsi manjaris, flower garlands, everything was made. So Maharaj Ambarish was surprised. Who did this seva? And Maharaj Ambarish's words were, who is this thief who has stolen away my seva? Because our acharyas explain that the verses that describe the activities of Maharaj Ambarish in Srimad Bhagavatam, where he did everything he engaged his hands in the service of Krishna, it means he did everything with his own hands, making garlands, stitching the clothes, making the ornaments, jewelry, everything, making chandan paste, offering the aarti. It's not like he had Brahman servants who would do it and he would just come and offer the aarti and put some drops of water as abhishek and go away. No. Maharaj Ambarish's life and soul was deity worship. His whole life revolved around serving Krishna. He did every single thing himself. Every single service he did himself. And now he saw someone came and half the service was done. Now all Ambarish Maharaj had to do was bathe the Lord, dress the Lord, and offer arti. But all the background service was already done. So Maharaj Ambarish said, who is this thief who came and stole away half my service? He did not know. So he asked the guards. They said, oh, we don't know who came. So Maharaj Ambarish was very surprised. What is this going on? And for 3 days it happened like that. Someone came and did half the puja for him. Ambarish Maharaj decided, I must hide and see who is coming. So his dinacharya, his schedule was, he woke up in the morning and then Brahmins chanting nice verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhakti Shastras, they would accompany him to the Sharayu river where he would take his bath, come and directly enter the temple of Lord Krishna and do his puja. So all the Brahmanas came in the morning, 3 o'clock, they started chanting their mantras and Maharaj Ambarish went with them. But then secretly told everybody, just go business as usual, as if I am with you, but I'm going to go back to the palace. I'm going to go back to the temple. So he did not take his bath. He came back to the temple to see who is doing this. And he saw that exactly after he had left, his youngest wife came quietly, without even the guards seeing her. And she entered the temple and she went down on her knees and started sweeping and swapping, mopping the floor, and then, getting all the paraphernalia ready, keeping the garlands, tulsi, water, everything, chandan. She was doing everything. And he's standing in the doorway. Maharaj Ambarish was shocked to see his youngest wife doing all these services quietly without any recognition. So finally, when she had completed her service, and throughout the services, she was chanting Krishna Nam. She was chanting the holy names of Krishna while doing the service, completely absorbed. So Maharaj Ambarish had 2 thoughts when he saw this, and he called his wife. He said, my dear wife, I know you are my youngest wife, but I think you don't know, that's why, what the rule is. The rule is, I do all the services myself. I am very attached to my Thakurji, to my Krishna, and I like to do all the services myself. So please don't do this. So then she said, but Maharaj, I am your Ardhangini. I am half your body. So half your service also should come to me. You serve Krishna and half that service should come to me because I am your Ardhangini. So please let me do. So Maharaj Ambarish said, no, I cannot let you do this. It is my service. Don't steal away my service. And by the way, where did you get this idea of coming here exactly when I go for bath? And how do you know all this? She said, I came. After I got married to you, I came to your palace to ask your ministers how I can engage in deity worship along with you. And they told me that you will not allow. You don't like, you want to do everything yourself. So then I found out from them what your schedule is. And then I decided the best time would be to come at 3:15 in the morning. And by the time you come from bath, I should do half my seva to assist you, because my life is to assist you. Ambarish Maharaj said, why assist? You have got such bhav, you have got such service attitude, you have got such love for Krishna. Why should you assist me? Instead, you should have your own deity of Krishna in your palace. You should have your own mandir. And there, not half service, you do full service to your Thakurji, and let me do full service to my Thakurji. In this way, my service also remains protected and you get to do more service. So she said, if you give me permission, I will do it. Ambarish Maharaj said, you have my full permission. Get a nice murti carved out and then made, and then we'll do pran pratisthapna, and you start serving in your own mandir, your own deity of Krishna. So she was very happy. Then a deity was made. Shripad Narad Muni was called to do the prana pratisthapna. He did prana pratisthapna, and this youngest queen of Maharaj Ambarish started doing the puja. And she was doing with such love and such faith, and she would sing with so much emotion and devotion that when Ambarish Maharaj would be doing his puja, he could hear his wife from her palace, from her temple, singing. And Maharaj Ambarish was mesmerized by her sweet singing. So he would finish his puja and then quietly go and see. And she would see that all her maidservants, along with the youngest queen, they would be loudly chanting beautiful, beautiful bhajans, glorifying Krishna, chanting Krishna Nam, different mantras, and such opulent puja, everywhere fresh flower garlands, first class puja, finest dress, finest jewels, most beautiful shringar, most beautiful arti, and all day night she would be singing for a Thakurji. Ambarish Maharaj was so attracted by her devotion that he was thinking, my other wives are devotees, but they are not serious. They are all attached to their physical bodies and their comforts and luxuries. They only come and hear Harikatha every day in the palace, but they are not fired up devotees like my youngest wife. So I need to get association of my youngest wife. She's so wonderful. So every day it is described Maharaj Ambarish would quickly finish his puja. Not finish, he would quickly finish his puja Abhishek, dressing up the deities, offering bhoga, and he would run to the palace of his youngest wife. So he could see her do puja. He could see her sing for the Lord. He could see her do kirtan. This was Ambarish Maharaja's life every day. He would go to the palace of his youngest wife. And all the other co-wives, they saw this, that Maharaj Ambarish only spends time with his youngest wife because she's completely attached to Krishna and she's a very great devotee of Krishna, pure devotee of Krishna. So they thought, we should also start worshipping Krishna. Otherwise, we will be left behind. Maharaj Ambarish will never associate with us. So they also got their own deities. And they also learned how to do puja, how to stitch the dress, how to make garlands from the youngest queen. They accepted the youngest queen as their guru. And they also started their own program in their homes. And they would send invitation to Maharaj Ambarish that today come to our palace. Today we are celebrating this festival in our home for our deities. Oh, today is the first anniversary of our deity installation. So Ambarish Maharaj, please do come today with your youngest wife. So Maharaj Ambarish every day started getting invitations from different wives. And he could hear Harinam Sankirtan going on from all the palaces of all his wives now. Everybody became first-class devotee of Krishna because of the influence of the youngest wife. So this story I heard from my Shiksha Guru, Shripad Mukundatta Prabhu, and I found this story in the first volume of Bhaktamal of Goswami Nabhadas ji. So it's an authentic story. And this story teaches us how one Vaishnavi, one pure Vaishnavi can make other Vaishnavi, other queens also into first-class Vaishnavis. And in this way, seeing the queens, the maid servants of the queens, the ordinary citizens, everyone started following this example. Yad yad acharati shreshtas tatta deve tarojana. Sayat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate. Everybody follows the example set by the superiors in society. And in this way, the entire kingdom of Maharaj Ambarish became first-class worshippers of Krishna and devotees of Krishna. By the influence of Ambarish Maharaj, they were already devotees. But by the influence of the youngest queen of Ambarish Maharaj, they became pure devotees. And then Narad Muni would come every day. Every day he would come and he would very happily observe how Krishna is being served in all these different homes. So this is the nature of a devotee. Wherever a devotee goes, he creates more and more devotees. And just see the contrast, my dear friends. Ambarish Maharaj was spending most of his time with the youngest queen. There is a similar story in Srimad Bhagavatam. Quickly unmute and tell me, what is that story where one king also started spending all his time with one particular queen only? Yes, Chitraketu Maharaj with Kritadhuti. And what was the effect? Kritadhuti's and Chitraketu Maharaj's son was poisoned by the other queens out of envy. So see, when Krishna is in the center and the same situation happens, the king is spending time with one particular queen, what happens? Others are inspired to take up to devotion because Krishna is in the center of the relationship. But when Krishna is not the center and sense enjoyment is the center, as in the case of Chitraketu Maharaj and his 1 crore queens, then what happens? There is envy and there is destruction and murder. This is the contrast. So therefore, this story, I found it very, very inspiring, that how we should take our seva very personally, very seriously, and we should be completely absorbed. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. What an enlightening class. It was so wonderful. And thank you for that pastime that you shared in the last. Yes, Prabhuji, with the influence of pure devotees, everybody can become a devotee. And we can see you being a pure devotee is influencing everyone in Bhakti Sangha to be in the category of a devotee. So
Mataji, I am a conditioned soul and I am very, very low. All of you are, I'm sure, much more advanced than me, all of you. I am very, very contaminated, conditioned soul, struggling with my anarthas, struggling with my mind and senses. Please pray for me so that I can at least do a little bit anartha nivritti in this lifetime. Hare Krishna.
That's your humility, Prabhu. But thank you so much for your wonderful association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for such a beautiful, I just second whatever Kirtida Mataji said. It was enlightening and it was very, very transformative. Thank you so much. Very beautiful class. And I second all that she said about you. Not only Bhakti Sangha, but also Atlanta. There was so much transformation. Thank you, Prabhu.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhuji, I have one
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You can go ahead, and after you, I can.
Indulekha Mataji, you can unmute. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Okay, sorry. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. How glories to Srila Prabhupada. I had a question regarding the pastime that you mentioned. So, Prabhuji, you were talking about how it was very, Ambarish Maharaj was very attached to his services, and he wanted to make sure that he serves his Lord in his full capacity. What should our mood be like? So when Ambarish Maharaj had to share his services with his wife, even though she gave a very logical argument, he did not accept that, right? So how should we be in our services? Should we be very greedy and not share the responsibilities with others, or what should our mood be?
Yeah, so Ambarish Maharaj, he was, I would not say greedy, but he was doing that service already, and he just didn't want to reduce his service. He was fixed up. You see, there's a difference between that service already belonged to Ambarish Maharaj. He was doing it before all these queens came. He was a pure devotee from his birth, and he just didn't want to reduce his services. And there was so much facility for others to do their own services. So why should he reduce? So that was his mood. Now, we should not artificially try to imitate the activities of Ambarish Maharaj or the activities of his youngest wife. But what we should understand is we should be absorbed. For example, if we are in a family and we have deities and we are attached to dressing them, let's say every Ekadashi, and one Ekadashi our spouse says that, oh, can I do it today? So we should allow. But at that time, not that, okay, today you do puja, I will sit and watch something. I will watch Netflix. So that is wrong. We should be absorbed. So if in the family situation, someone wants to do a service on a particular day, okay, you do it. Can I assist you? We can either assist and do it together so that the service is even better, or we can do some other limb of bhakti during that time. While somebody is doing puja, then maybe let me sing for the pleasure of Krishna. So we can sit with the harmonium and sing for the pleasure of the deities right there. So we are not reducing our services. So that can be done. Is that okay, Indulekha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. So, okay, one thing is, I mean, definitely we need to make sure that we share the work, but also participate in it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Prabhuji, let's talk about a scenario where, like in Bhakti Sangha, we have many services, right? But there are also many devotees who would like to, join and serve in different capacities. So, my question is, should we continue to keep our services? Because I am definitely very attached, and that's my only connection. So do I have to do that, or do I have to be, open and learn to share them with others? Does that make sense, Prabhuji? I'm so sorry.
Yes, it makes sense. I'm understanding, I think, what you're trying to say. But see, without the specific details, it's hard for me to say. But the principle is, see, Bhakti Sangha is a Sangha. Sangha means it's a group effort. So in a group effort, we have to share. And that is what will please Srila Prabhupada. Even the temples that Srila Prabhupada established, everything is shared. The deity worship is a shared seva, giving Bhagavatam classes is shared, leading kirtan is shared service. So those who are competent, they should share among themselves. Those who are authorized to do a particular service. That is Bhakti Sangha, because it's a Sangha, it's a group activity. Whereas Ambarish Maharaj, this was a question of his personal service to his personal deities. So it was little different. We cannot extrapolate Bhakti Sangha services to the situation of Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj was encouraging others to take up services in their own homes, but his service to his personal deity, he was completely fixed up and he did not want to reduce that. So he wanted to do it himself. But the principle is, whether in Bhakti Sangha or outside Bhakti Sangha, we should continue our services. For example, let's say if our service is to make flyers for Bhakti Sangha, just giving an example, and we are attached to that service. And now there are other devotees who are very well trained in making flyers and they want to do that service. I'm just giving an example. So also, okay, it's a Sangha, so they want to do it. If they are good and they are authorized to do it, then we can share our service. If they are doing it nicely, then we can share our service. But then we should take up some other service that inspires us in that time. So not that, because there is always a danger. See, I'll tell you a story of a real story that I heard. One devotee confessed to me. So he was also a doctor. He's also a doctor, and he was doing his residency training in India, and it was very, very busy. And he used to work practically 14 to 16 hours every day, and he did not get time to chant his 16 rounds. So he would chant 8 rounds, 10 rounds, sometime 12, like that. But he was sincere. So he kept a notebook and he would write all the pending rounds. And then every 2 or 3 weeks, when he would get a weekend off, he would come to Radha Gopinath Mandir and he would just stay in the Brahmachari ashram for 2 days. And he would try to compensate all his rounds. He would chant 64 or 80 rounds in one day and just chant all day and try to compensate all his missed rounds. So I told him, Prabhu, you're so sincere. This is so nice. So he said, actually, I'm trying to be sincere, but I was not sincere before. He said, I used to keep a tab of how many rounds I have missed. And then my aim was that on the weekend that I get off every 2 or 3 weeks, then I will just compensate it. He said, but it so happened, one day I was off, completely off from my work. I came and I was sleep deprived. So I slept. Then I had not spoken to my family members, relatives. 2-3 hours I spent talking to them on the phone, different relatives, different friends, different family members. Then I had to meet some devotees. Then I had invitation to go for lunch in some devotee's house. Like that I did. And I didn't chant even 16 rounds that day. Although I was off, I was supposed to chant extra to compensate. I did not even chant my 16 rounds. So he was telling me that when we don't chant 16 rounds for some time, and then we have an off day and we are supposed to chant that day, we have enough time, but because we are used to not chanting, we are used to postponing and procrastinating, even that day when we have time, we will end up not chanting. This he was telling from his practical experience. So it should not happen that we are doing a service and now there are other devotees who want to share that service. So we are sharing, and because now we are sharing, there are many devotees who are able to do that service, we become complacent. And now we have free time. A devotee should never have free time. We should always be engaged. Does that make sense, Indulekha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, very perfect answer. Thank you so much for the very nectarian class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Das was me. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Gail Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, this conversation just made me think one thing. I don't know what you think of it, but in the case of Ambarish Maharaj, his attachment to his service seemed to me that it was out of spontaneous devotion, and I think that's different from the attachment to service when we are not on that level. So I'm thinking that when we're not on that level, then yes, there should be consideration of sharing the mercy with others. But I just feel that, Ambarish Maharaj's case was different. When you're on that level, I feel like, the question of sharing would not be actually appropriate, I don't know what you think.
Yeah, your analysis, I agree with your analysis. So, Mataji, let me ask you a question. You are Gaurangi Mataji, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because it says Gail, so yes.
I have a double life.
You are doing double devotion, double services. You are so enthusiastic to serve in 2 roles. Like the Parshad, they have Gaur Lila Swarup also, Krishna Lila Swarup also. Hare Krishna. Yes, your analysis is correct. Actually, I'm reminded of something I read in the book by my Guru Maharaj, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, The Journey Home. Those of you who have read that book, there is a story of a very great exalted devotee called Ghansham Baba. Some of you remember Ghansham Baba?
Oh, yes, I
Yes.
think. Yes.
So he would worship his Radha Gopijana Vallabh deities. They were self-manifested deities. Radha Gopijana Vallabh deities he used to serve. And his service was every day he would take a bucket, go to Yamuna, bring Yamuna water for their bath. And in the journey home, it is described that once Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he took that bucket because he wanted to assist. Because Ghansham Baba had become so old and frail. Even his photograph is there in the journey home book with his wife sitting in front of Radha Gopijana Vallabh. So Maharaj thought, carrying that heavy bucket is too much for him. So let me carry it for him. And Maharaj tried to take the heavy Jamuna water-filled bucket from his hands, and Ghansham Baba started crying. He said, no, please don't take this from me. Please don't take away my service. And he started crying and weeping. Don't take away my service. Don't take away my service. So who can understand the activities of pure devotee? They are so attached transcendentally. They are so fixed up in their service that service is their life and soul. It's like asking, can I take away your breathing? Can I take away your breathing from you? It's like that.
Yeah.
So it's not out of envy, or it is not out of a desire for continued prestige. I am bathing Radha Gopi. Nothing. Ghansham Baba was so simple. No one even knew that he existed. He lived in a closet in somebody else's house with his Radha Gopijana Vallabh. So it was not out of ego or prestige that he did not want to share his service, but it was out of just spontaneous, like you said, spontaneous love and attachment, and being completely fixed up that seva is one's life and soul. So, and also we have to understand, it's not like Ambarish Maharaj was depriving someone of seva. He was the king, and he said, you see what he said, remember? He said two things. One is that don't take away my service, and second, you are doing such nice service, why you want to do only half service? You do full service. You should also bathe Krishna, you should also dress Krishna, you should also make garlands, so you do everything. So he was wanting to increase the service. The service of Krishna is unlimited. There is no limit to how many deities of Krishna can be served, how many rounds can be chanted, how many 24-hour kirtans can be established in this world. There is unlimited work to do. So let everybody get busy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I think Kirtana Sundari Mataji wanted to say something.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I just want to ask about the Shat Puja forms. So, how many times Mahaprabhu displayed his Shat Puja forms?
There might be more, but I know of two incidents. One that we read, and one was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. But
like he showed, there may be more, right?
There may be more, yeah. But I know Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Sri Nityananda Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question, that there may be more, right? That Mahaprabhu displayed.
There could have been more. I know.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
I think Chandan Prabhu has a last question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this wonderful nectarian katha, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a little question. Like so many times when we read about these glorious devotees of the Lord, means when they do service, they have not just the mood, they have perfect thoughts which pleases Krishna. So now for my personal case, I want to ask Prabhuji, like we have desire to please the Lord. We are following sadhana bhakti, but somehow these thoughts don't come in our mind. Means we are not able to give pleasure to Krishna, but a little desire, maybe a spark of desire we have. So how can I personally myself try to inculcate those desires, or maybe that would please the Lord? So maybe you can guide on that, me, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Krishna creates these desires. This is mentioned in the 13th chapter, verse number 50. 13th chapter, verse number 50 of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.13.50, I think. That it is mentioned when Lord Brahma sees the multiple forms of Vishnu, the many Vishnu Murtis manifesting from Krishna. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam that it is Krishna who creates these favorable desires in the hearts of the devotees that you're talking about. Krishna creates them. And Krishna will give us those desires, those favorable desires, when he is pleased with our bhajan. So we should chant attentively, hear Hari Katha from pure devotees, not from me. And we should read Srila Prabhupada's books and associate with advanced devotees. By doing these four things, chanting sincerely, hearing Hari Katha from pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, reading Srila Prabhupada's books and the books of our Guru Varga and the lectures of our Guru Varga, and by associating with advanced devotees. Associating means conversing with them, asking them questions, the 6 loving exchanges that Srila Rupa Goswami mentions. When we do that with advanced, sincere devotees, Chandan Prabhu, when we do these 4 things, then these desires, Krishna will manifest in our heart. And we will get desires which are so sweet and which we never had before for years. Suddenly you will see these desires are manifesting in the heart. And that is Krishna's reciprocation. And then we should nurture those desires and work on those desires. Then our life becomes successful. Is that okay, Chandan Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, basically, if we have advanced devotees in our life, uh, so means we don't get more time to have these 6 loving exchanges. Mostly we get to hear Hari Katha, and at our personal level we try to do our service. Means then how do we take up this point of basically from the advanced devotees? How do we serve them basically if we don't get the chance to serve them?
One very important way of serving the great souls is to hear their instructions, hear their katha, and implement in our life, apply in our life what they are teaching. For example, if you hear a lecture of Srila Prabhupada, and yesterday I was listening to a lecture of Srila Prabhupada, I think it was a Hindi lecture, and Srila Prabhupada was saying कि हमारे जो ये कृष्ण भावना के जो भक्त है, ये बिल्कुल सवेरे 4 बजे उठ जाते हैं और 4:30 बजे मंदिर में मंगल आरती करते हैं. He was giving a lecture. I think it was in Surat, Gujarat. He was giving a Hindi lecture. So Srila Prabhupada was saying that our devotees, they wake up at 4 o'clock at the latest, he said. And 4:30, their bhajan starts in the morning. The whole morning program starts. And then Srila Prabhupada made a general instruction for all of us that therefore devotee must be awake at 4 o'clock. A devotee who is sleeping after 4 o'clock, not good. So now we heard this lecture of Srila Prabhupada. If we implement this in our life, we make it a rule that every day I will wake up by 4 o'clock and 4:30 I will continue, I will start my bhajan kriya, chanting, Gurvashtakam and Tulsi Puja, reading Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, at least 2 hours chanting. See, we were talking about this prahar. There are danda. One danda is 24 minutes. And it is mentioned in our scriptures, at least 5 danda, we should be doing Nam Bhajan loudly, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So 2 hours is 5 danda. 24 minutes is 1 danda. So 5 danda is 2 hours. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he made the morning program with at least 2 hours of chanting. Everything Prabhupada did, we may not realize it, but it is based on Shastra. Shastra says that 5 danda we must chant. Anybody who chants less than 5 danda is not a human being. So Prabhupada said, therefore, minimum 16 round, no less, Prabhupada said. Prabhupada alagay the. Even if I don't get any disciples, I will not reduce below the standard. Because Shastra says 5 danda. So like that, if we follow this morning program, after hearing that lecture of Srila Prabhupada, that is the best service to Srila Prabhupada, isn't it? You hear one lecture of Prabhupada, Prabhupada is giving a general instruction and you are applying it in your life and you have just made it part of your life now. That means you have made Srila Prabhupada part of your life. Yo nityada jivati daivikishu. Let me show you something. There is a very beautiful verse in Prabhupada Ashtakam. Let's go here. So Krishna Kirtan. So what was the name of Srila Prabhupada's disciple who wrote it? Kushakrat Prabhu. I love that verse. We should memorize this teaching. Even if not able to memorize this. Yo nityada jivati daivikishu nijasu shikshasu sahanugami kripam budhir nanda sutashritatma namami tam Shri Prabhupada Devam. Yo nityada jivati daivikishu. One who lives with the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, one who follows the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, nijasu shikshasu sahanugami. Such a person lives with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada forever lives in his instructions, and a devotee who follows those instructions, nijasu shiksha means instruction, shikshasu sahanugami. A devotee who follows those instructions lives with Srila Prabhupada. I repeat, Srila Prabhupada eternally lives in his instructions, and a faithful disciple who follows those instructions eternally lives with Srila Prabhupada. Lives with Srila Prabhupada. And Kripambudir, he is an ocean of mercy. Nanda Sutta Ashritatma. He is one who has completely taken shelter of Nanda Sutta Krishna. Namamitam Srila Prabhupada Devam. I worship Srila Prabhupada. See, I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is like an ocean of mercy and who has completely taken shelter of Lord Krishna, Nanda Sutta, the transcendental son of Nanda Maharaj. Now, with his body, mind, and words and self, Srila Prabhupada lives forever in his divine instructions, and his sincere followers live with him by following those instructions. So, the best way to serve a pure devotee is to hear their instructions and follow them. Even if you are not able to cook for them, you are not able to massage their lotus feet, you are not able to give them donation. If you follow their instructions, that is the best service you can do for them and for yourself, for ourselves. So listen to their lectures or unhe angikar kar lo. Just bring them, follow them in your life. That is the best thing. That is the best service to a Vaishnava you can do. Of course, then there are other ways also. When if you are a Grahastha and you have some Lakshmi, then you can give some Artha, you can give some money to them, some donation. That is all okay. But the most important thing is to hear their instruction and follow their instruction in your life. That is the best thing you can do. Then you will experience the reciprocation from those great souls also. Is that okay, Chandanji?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving this clear direction for me. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Eternally grateful to you, Prabhuji.
Dasosmi. Hare Krishna.
If nobody has any question, can we end the call now, Prabhuji?
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for a very enlightening class. And also the answers also very good. Thank you. And it's like a vibrant class. Thank you.
Kamadaka, just 1 second. There is one question in the chat.
Okay.
Mataji is asking, I want to chant more than 16 rounds, but being a student, I have to study also. So I chant rounds during metro travel also. Is it an offense to the holy name? Also, please bless me so that I can have Hare Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada's blessings are there with all of us. Yes, you try your best. It is best if we can devote at least 1.5 hours in the morning for chanting. Ideally, 16 rounds. We can chant and then go for our work. But if not, then it's not really an offense. Try to chant as attentively as possible, even in the metro. It's okay. But you pray that a stage should come in your life where you have time to chant good quality rounds. If you pray like that, then Krishna will give you that opportunity. Is that okay, Pradnya Mataji? I hope this is okay.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Vinita Gandharika Mataji.
Can I ask you one question, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, sure.
So you were telling we have to chant 2 hours, but being like so many years we were chanting, our chanting is very quick and we will finish our 16 rounds less than 2 hours. So how do we do? Like we finished our 16 rounds, right? But you are telling 2 hours we have to chant in the morning. As being a housewife, you have to take care of many things, and as we have finished our 16 rounds, right? So can we give a gap and then continue the rest of the rounds?
Absolutely. Yes, you can chant the extra rounds later on.
Yeah. So Prabhuji, ideally, how much time usually 16 rounds takes for a person if they chant little faster than not the beginners? How much is the time, Prabhuji? Can you please guide me on that?
I chant 16 rounds in 1 hour, Mataji. I finished 16 rounds in this speed. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Exact 1 hour, I finished 16 rounds, but that is not the standard, Mataji. That is like the very fastest way you can do. But for most devotees, it takes between 1.5 to 2 hours. Somehow, I don't know, I finished 16 rounds in 1 hour. But yeah, most it should be 1.5 to 2 hours. I don't know why I chant so fast, but it just comes naturally to me. So
yeah, sometimes what
I have
happens
verified
is
with I have verified with some. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there's no Prabhuji. Please continue, Prabhuji. You're telling something.
No, I was only saying that I have confirmed with some senior devotees, and they have also said that they also chant 16 rounds in 1 hour. As time goes by, the speed may increase. Even Srila Prabhupada says in one quote that speed automatically increases. But the important thing is that we don't go by the rounds. We go by the number of hours we are doing bhajan. Like some devotee may take 16 rounds, may take them 2 hours, 15 minutes. I know some devotees, they even take 2.5 hours. One devotee here in Atlanta takes 2 hours, 45 minutes, 10 minutes per round. So he chants only 16 hours, but he's doing Nam Jap for 2 hours, 45 minutes. So that is very good. So I should not think that, oh, in that much time I can chant 40 rounds. No, not like that. He's also, so we should go by hours. Sorry, you were saying something, Vinita Kanthirika?
Yeah, so Prabhuji, that sometimes I get worried, like someday it is very fast, rounds is done. I put the timer also to check on myself, like whether how much time I'm taking each round, why I'm finishing someday 1 hour 20 minutes, one day 1 hour 30 minutes, one day 1 hour 40 minutes. What's happening? Am I missing anything? I try to record, I try to put the timer, and one day I feel that, oh, today maybe I cheated. Today, maybe I cheated myself and I'm thinking my 16 rounds are done. No, I didn't chant 16. Maybe I chanted only 10 rounds. I get confused, Prabhuji, but I know that I chanted 16, but my heart says that somewhere I'm cheating. Am I running fast? So I was so a little worried in myself. That's why I was asking you this question.
See, suppose you have to go for yatra. And the yatra ticket and the bus fare and everything, the yatra committee says that you have to pay $200. You bring $200 for the yatra and everything will be taken care of. Vrinda Gopika Mataji, I'm coming. So let's say they say that the expenses for the yatra is $200. So do we carry exact $200? No. We may want to do some extra shopping in Loi Bazaar or something. So we take some extra money, right? So 16 rounds is the minimum currency we need to get through the day. 16 rounds, Srila Prabhupada said. So we should never chant 16 rounds. We should always chant more than that. So that's why I go by hours. That in the morning, at least 2 hours between 4 and 6 a.m., the Nam Bhajan should go on without interruption. Then doesn't matter whether we chant 16 rounds or 32 rounds. We know that we have chanted what Srila Prabhupada wants us to do. I have heard from Srila Prabhupada directly that we should chant for 2 hours. And I've heard from my Guru Maharaj also that at least 2 hours we should chant every day. So just go by the hours, Mataji. That way you are doing more than 16 and you don't have to worry whether I did 16 or less. So you are always doing more. So like that. And as long as we are able to hear the Mahamantra and we are able to absorb ourselves in the Mahamantra, then it doesn't matter whether it takes 4 minutes for a round or 5 minutes or 6 minutes or 7 minutes. But average, Srila Prabhupada said, is between 5 to 7 minutes or 5 to 8 minutes for one round. But different devotees will have different speed. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. I will go with 2 hours. That will help me at least. Because always it is so confusing. Always I feel that I'm cheating somewhere. So I will get out of that feeling at least if I maintain the time. 2 hours. Okay.
Yeah, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes 5 dandas. That is 2 hours every day, at least.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhuji, it takes me more than 2 hours to chant 16 rounds.
Yeah, that's fine. That is fine.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I also take more than 9 to 10 minutes. Please
so
accept
much.
audiences.
Dandvat pranam.
Dandavat pranam. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Is it okay?
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, please
Thank-
accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru
Dandavat.
and Gauranga. Prabhuji, I also take 9 to 10 minutes to chant my round. I cannot finish in 2 hours.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Many devotees, they take more than 2 hours. No problem.
And
As long as you're chanting and you're hearing everything nicely, it doesn't matter. There are different speeds.
yeah, and Prabhuji, one more thing, I cannot sit continuously. So sometimes I stand up after 5-6 rounds. I stand up for a while, and then sometimes
Yes,
I
I
walk
also-
1 or 2 rounds. But I cannot walk too much too. So I just then sit down and I do.
That's okay, Mataji. No problem. Important thing is to chant and hear nicely. And the heart should be.
Aite, shuibe, chalite.
Khaite,
yeah.
shuite,
Chalite.
chalite, phirite, yatha tatha naam loy.
Yeah.
Nishkal niyam nai sarva siddhi hoy. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
What does
Very,
that
very
mean?
nice class. Always as usual. I'm so inspired by you.
Hare Krishna. Dasosmi.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Really.
Recently, in one of the classes, I was hearing about the influence of Ambarish Maharaja on King Yayati. I didn't even understand how, Ambarish is the emperor and Yayati is a small king. How did he even get influenced? But today, your story from Bhaktamal describing how this king got transformed and his daughter was so influenced that she went and she wanted to even marry Ambarish, get his association, and how her association further transferred Ambarish, and how all the queens got transformed. Now it makes little sense for me to understand how Yayati actually got transformed, because he was in such a mess. So it's beautiful, Prabhu. So nice. So many connections today and so many beautiful realizations from you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Priti Vilasini Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila
Have to
Prabhupada.
go to work, Prabhuji, or?
I am off today.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I hope everybody's okay now.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. It's very, very nice. Everybody likes to get some time from you. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very much for your association. We can on and call now. Vansha kalpatarupyasya kripa sindhu vyayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Adi Gadhadar das 8th.
All glories to all of
Ki
you.
jai.
Kamadaki Mataji ki jai. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai
Hare
Shri
Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Preeti Vilasini Mataji, you are the host.
Yes, I am ending the call. I'll announce like Vinita Mataji.